The Phoenix Project was a community art project that I came up with sort of in response to the riots that had happened. Very visceral response, and I felt as though there was something that could be done in the community that reflected more of the positive side of the people who lived here rather than the negative aspects which the media was really sort of pushing. So that was the initial intention behind wanting to come and engage people in the project.
It's an amazing community that's made up of all sorts of different people from different places with different interests and passions. And I think the thing that I always think about in Tottenham is that it's easy to think about the community, but actually all of us are part of a lot of different communities. I'm not just part of, the Holy Trinity Tottenham community. I've got the guys I went to school with, and I've got my family, and they're all different communities.
My main goals are to engage people in an arts process because it kind of opens up people's minds and makes them aware of things in a different way that maybe they hadn't thought of before. And then also to get to know the community of Tottenham, because I felt that there was a whole other face of the people that lived here that had nothing to do with what was being portrayed, and so I wanted to come and find out for myself what it was about.
I'm here at the Harmony Gardens as the head gardener, and I teach gardening, especially to grow exotic vegetables, especially from the Caribbean, the place of my birth. I've actually exceeded myself by growing things like chocho, and as you can see, this wonderful plant here, which is cocoa, and we also have something from India which is called the kedu. We have people, volunteers here, who help out to maintain the garden, and we do have workshops and also volunteers, and if they want to learn about growing exotic vegetables, we have courses we put on here, and they come along and I do workshop for them and teach them how to grow these things in their own back garden. All these houses now, all the front garden is paved or concrete, and for one reason I can't understand why, because these people are losing out their space in their gardens where they could be growing their own veg rather than concreting it over. So there's not enough green space in London or Tottenham. No, there's not. And I think it's about time that we actually get together and create more visual art for Tottenham.
Obviously, since the riots, everyone has kind of had a somewhat negative view of what Tottenham is about. If you don't live in Tottenham, and you hear about these views, you're just going to think that they are just negative. It's a negative area, that's what's going on in negativity.
We wanted our estate to be brightened up. We live in we used to call it a hellhole back in them days. And we wanted it changed. We didn't have to, all right, we were poor, but we didn't have to live in a slum. You know what I mean? It was a terrible place to live, and it was so dreary. And I remember the first day that we painted the first building, how people came out on the balcony, whereas before neighbour didn't know neighbour on this estate. You know what I mean? And just putting a bit of paint on the concrete changed the way people were.
There's a big regeneration program happening in the area of Tottenham, and it's been going on for quite some time, and the riots just really sort of was an excuse to fund it more and have it all happen much more quickly. And so for me, I really wanted to make sure that the community had a say in what their environment looked like. Do you think there's enough art in Tottenham?
No, I don't think there's enough. Like, there's a road off West Green Road, there's a picture of a squirrel on the wall, and it was freaking amazing. Like, that cheered me up. That just made me feel like I was in Atlanta again, taking pictures of that, So, no, there isn't enough. I think you definitely see some changes. People will talk about it. I think people will be slightly uplifted if there was a little bit more art in Tottenham.